It's the most wonderful time of the year. How's it going, guys? It is Plastic Disasta. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you guys, and today I'm going to do the review of the high-grade Universal Century Zaku 2 FZ from the anime OVA series Mobile Suit Gundam War in the Pocket. Aren't you guys glad that this is not another Endless Waltz review? Okay, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I just want to change things up a bit. Now, how does this relate to Christmas? Well, War in the Pocket is a side story of Mobile Suit Gundam, the original Gundam series that takes place during Christmas. And if you've seen the OVA, they have Christmas decorations, and even the guy uses inflatable Santas to fight the Gundam Alex. Take a look at the box art. We got the Zaku 2 FZ ready to whack the Gundam with his He-Hawk. And speaking of the Gundam, here she is right there in the background. And no, I'm not planning on getting that kit. This kit came out in 2008. So by the time of this video is released, this kit is almost 15 years old. So let's see how well this kit ages. Taking a look at this side of the box, we have the front and rear shot of the model kit when it's all put together and painted. Right over here is a nice CG render of the Zaku 2 FZ versus the Alex Gundam. Now, don't mind that the box is a little bit damaged. You look at this side of the box, we have more images of the Zaku 2 FZ showing off the weapons, the nice articulation, and the details. And notice how that this kit has two different heads. More on that on the accessories. Opening the box, we are greeted with 2 bags of runners and a manual. Take a look at the cover of the manual, we have a familiar front shot of the model kit. Cracking open the manual, we have more information of the Zaku 2 FZ, and right down here is a familiar CG render. Now, I know it's all in Japanese, but I'm sure the information is on the wiki page. Checking the parts list, looks like we're going to be using all of them except for one little polycap. And looking at the back of the manual, we see some action shots of the Zaku 2 FZ, and check this out. A swing hip mechanism. This is a pretty cool idea for a kit that came out in 2008. Moving further down, we see these familiar images and a color guide if you're planning on painting it. Starting off with runner A, it looks like we got a multicolored runner. We got some navy parts up here. We got a dark shade of green, red parts, and it looks like a different shade of gold. Runner B is going to be a lighter shade of green. Runner C is going to be gray with a shade of purple, and these are going to be the joint parts and weapon parts. We got some old school polycap runners, small sticker sheet, and those are going to be for the eyes. More on that later. And finally, a marking sticker sheet, which is going to be the Zeon logo. So that's going to be it for the unboxing. With only 3 runners and a small polycap runner, this is going to be a pretty quick build. I'll put this together right now, and I'll see you guys right after. And here we have the Zaku 2 FZ all put together. As for building experience, this one's a bit of a mixed bag. Like, there are some parts where the engineering is actually not bad, and there are some parts where it shows its age. And speaking of age, it does have some seam lines, like the one right here on the spike shoulder. On the torso, it is kind of well hidden. Like, there is a seam line like right here, and one right over here, but it looks like they're kind of tricky to get rid of. But then again, you're not really gonna see it unless you really look up close to it. You also got one on the front and the back of the arms, and we also have one on the side of the legs, and I should really take care of my nub marks. Moving on to sticker placement, these pink mono eyes is gonna go, well, of course, on the head. Then just a heads up, the mono eye does not move because it's an older kit. And the black stickers are going to go behind the mono eye. So basically, you're putting a sticker and then you're putting another sticker on top of it. So the small one goes onto this head while the bigger one goes onto the other head. But you know me, instead of using a black sticker, I use black paint instead. Finally, you have this marquee sticker that goes onto this part of the shoulder. Going back to what I said about the engineering of this kit, overall, the presentation of this kit is actually not bad. And I'm talking about like not panel lining and not putting any detail work, well, even though I already did by starting off with the eye. And speaking of detail work, I'll do that right now, and I'll see you guys right after that. And here is the Zaku 2 FZ with all that work. As for a painting experience, it's actually pretty easy. All you gotta do is paint the inside of the thrusters red. And I even take it a step further by weathering the kit and give it a few water slide decals. Moving on with accessories, for hand options, and here's where it gets funny. So you get a trigger finger hand for the right side and a weapon holding hand for the left side, because normally you get 2 of the regular weapon holding hands. Let's say you want to use the He-Hawk, and yes, that is the only melee weapon you're gonna get, and this is the adapter piece that you can store on the back skirt. Anyways, going back on the trigger finger hand, it's gonna look awkward if you display it like this, which is why you should leave the trigger finger hand for the gun. And of course, this is the gun, and I really like how beefy this is. Like, I think it's supposed to be like a grenade launcher down there, and you know what's really cool? That it has a removable ammo clip. But the sad part is, you only get 1. And finally, you get the already mentioned alternative head. Hey guys, Editing Plastic Disasta here. Forgot to tell you that you do get an open palm hand for your posing or a rifle support. And that's about it for the accessories. For a cheap kit, it's to be expected. Moving on with the articulation, the head does rock forward and backward, and there is a ball joint on top. Now, what I forgot to mention is that if you want the Model I to move side to side, is that you have to move the sticker, but you don't want to do that. Moving on to the shoulder, it is on a peg, so it allows for a rotation, but it does have a little bit of forward movement, and it can move up and down. Now for the spiky part of the shoulder, it does move up and down, and as for the other one, it does move up and down and allows for a rotation. And due to design, if we're talking about upward arm movement, this one does a bit more than the other. Bicep rotation, 90-degree elbow bend, and the wrist is on a ball joint. You get a bit of an ab crunch and a limited waist swivel. The front skirt moves out. The side skirt is attached to the back skirt, which is actually pretty unique, and it moves out just a little bit, and the back skirt, it does move ever so slightly. The thigh is on a ball joint, so it does everything what a ball joint does, and this is the already mentioned swinging hip mechanism. Technically, there is a double joint at the knee, but it only goes about 90. Moving down on the foot, it can go up this far up, and can move back, well, not really. It can rotate, well, that's because it's on a ball joint. And speaking of ball joint, as for pivot, just a little bit. Overall, the articulation, well, let's just say it did show its age. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing. I mean, you can still pull off some decent poses. For size comparisons, here it is right next to the standard size RX 78 II. It wasn't obvious, they're both the same height. Next up, here it is right next to other Zeon mobile suits from the one you wore, Zaku 2, and the Guff Custom. You know, maybe the Zaku 2 FC deserves a Commander Fin. Finally, here it is right next to Optimus Prime and Godzilla. And you know, since it's Christmas, here it is right next to a candy cane. And that's about it for the size comparisons. Let's move on to my final thoughts. Moving on to my final thoughts, overall, the kit isn't bad. Now, to answer the question I asked early on the video, does this kit age well? The kit does have nice out-of-box presentation, and if you are planning on painting it, well, detailed paint, it doesn't require a lot of effort, and the kit does feel solid. However, the accessories and the articulation, it may be a bit lacking. I would only recommend it if you really like collecting Zeon mobile suits, or if you like what you see. The thing is that there are some builders out there who prefer like dynamic poses and good articulation, which I understand, or something that's more bang for your buck. As for me, I am happy I got this kit. So again, if you like what you see, go for it. Alright, so I'm gonna wrap up the review right here. I want to say thank you guys so much for watching, and man, I had a pretty good year on YouTube. I managed to reach over 100 subscribers, so thank you guys for that. If you want to see more content like this, be sure to subscribe so you won't miss out. Comment if you have any questions, concerns, leave a like as well. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. I'll see you guys in 2023. For one last bonus segment of 2022, I want to show you that this kit is compatible with the Zaku Origin kit, so let's bring in the bazooka as for example. Now, the fact that this tab is much smaller than the slot right there, which means it should fit in the hand, right? It does, so it's not going anywhere. So now just sandwich it between the fingers right here, and this is how it's gonna look. And if you have a bunch of Origin kits lying around, you guys are gonna have so much fun customizing this kit.